L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Good news headline. Apartment rents are on the verge of declining due to massive new supply. Unfortunately, that's a CNBC headline from the United States of America. Here's a CBC headline in Canada. Rent is going up more than $100 a month right now. And another one, the Prime Minister's favorite, the Toronto Star, that this year we're having worse construction numbers than during the lockdown. Why is construction up and rent down south of the border when it's just the opposite here in Canada?
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Mr. Speaker, we know we need to build more rental constructions more quickly, and that's why we put forward a bill that removes the GST from new rental constructions across the country and on the federal side, and that is actually spurring thousands of new units to be built across the country. It's a very exciting measure, except unfortunately, Conservatives have chosen to obstruct debate on that particular measure. Why won't they line up with Canadians? Why don't they see that building housing supply is going to help Canadians right across the country? Why won't they line up with us and support Canadians across the country?
L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Mr. Speaker, he's the one that's been obstructing that promise for the last 8 years since he made it. But since that 8-year period, the average rent has doubled. Mortgage payments have doubled. The needed down payment has doubled. It has been double trouble. And after doubling the cost, he created a $4 billion so-called accelerator to build homes. How many homes have been completed?
Chers collègues, s'il vous plaît. Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday, following a request from the Minister of Housing to scale up their ambition, Vaughan's City Council passed a bold housing resolution to unlock even more affordable family-sized homes. That is a direct result of the Housing Accelerator Fund. This is a concrete example of how the federal government can lead and ensure more affordable housing options so our seniors, students, families can grow in their communities. We look forward to more municipalities joining us to ensure all Canadians have a safe and affordable place to call home.
L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the question was not how many resolutions have been passed. You can't live in a resolution. You can't live in a photo op. You can't live in a press release or a promise. He created this fund a year and a half ago, promising to, quote, accelerate housing. So how many houses have been completed? And by completed, I mean houses with walls and roofs and doors and people living in them. How many are completed? How many?
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition's housing plan consists of wagging a finger at municipalities and saying, you better build more homes or else. Mr. Speaker, we have a better approach than that. We actually work with municipalities to build more homes, and we're seeing the results of that housing plan. Recently, alongside British Columbia and the City of Vancouver, the member for Vancouver Centre announced the groundbreaking of the construction of 154 new affordable housing units close to transit in the heart of Davie Village, which will also house Community, which is a non-profit organization providing safe and secure services for individuals and families living with HIV/AIDS.
L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Cannot live in an announcement. You can't live in a press release. You can't live in the Prime Minister's talking points, which he's having so much trouble reading, Mr. Speaker. This Prime Minister is now presiding over a massive decline in home building. In fact, last year, Canada built fewer homes than in 1972, and this year, housing starts are down 32%. And by the way, to end the suspense, the number of homes that have actually been built by this so-called housing accelerator, zero, nada, nothing. When will he stop the talk, end the bureaucracy, and finally get something built?
Yeah.
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Mr. Speaker, over the past number of years, over 2 million families have got into homes because of our strategic investments in housing, and we just added to that with the Housing Accelerator Fund that is moving forward to remove barriers and get more housing built faster, which is exactly what we're doing, for example, with the City of London, where Mayor Morgan said this is the most significant housing investment in London history, where over the next 3 years alone, we'll build over 2,000 additional housing units in London. We know this is a challenge that we need to solve together, and that is what we're going to do in partnership with municipalities.
L'opposition.
Mr. Speaker, 8 years ago, the Prime Minister promised in his 2015 platform that he would, and I quote, repurpose all available federal lands and buildings at a low cost for affordable housing in communities where there is a pressing need. Can he tell us how many homes have resulted from repurposing these buildings and lands?
Good question.
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Mr. Speaker, in 2017, we moved forward with the National Housing Strategy, which was a direct response to the fact that for 10 years under the Conservatives, the federal government had removed itself from providing housing solutions for Canadians. Over the following years, around 2 million Canadians accessed new homes, new places to live because of the work of that National Housing Strategy, and we're continuing that work, working closely in partnership with municipalities and provinces, doing things like eliminating the GST on rental construction of new apartment buildings. These are things that would be accelerated if the Conservatives stopped blocking them in this House.
L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
We're happy to cooperate. We're just looking for one little detail. There's 37,000 federal buildings representing 6.2 million square meters of space. The Prime Minister promised 8 years ago that he would repurpose some of that space to create homes. How many have been created?
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Like I said, Mr. Speaker, our national housing strategy has delivered homes has supported in delivering the homes for close to 2 million Canadians, families, but we're going to continue to do the work necessary, working with partners in municipalities and provinces on delivering housing solutions. One of those parts of the solutions is eliminating the GST on new rental construction, and that's something, unfortunately, that the Conservatives can support with right now if they stop obstructing and slowing down debate on the bill that we put forward for Canadians.
L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Mr. Speaker, there seems to be a problem with the microphone. The Prime Minister didn't hear the question. There are 37,000 federal buildings, 6 million plus square meters that could be converted into housing, not to mention thousands of acres of federal land. Now, the Prime Minister agreed that that could be done because he promised it 8 years ago. So after 8 years of doubling housing costs, can he tell us how many homes have been created by repurposing federal buildings and lands? Just the number, please.
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Mr. Speaker, over the past years, we've invested close to $40 billion to build and renovate close to 500,000 homes. That's 500,000 homes.
L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister doesn't need to answer it because my deputy leader did an order paper question. He asked for the government to tell us how many homes have resulted from repurposing land and buildings of the federal government. The number? 13. Not 1,300, not 13,000. 13 homes, Mr. Speaker. That's 2 homes per year. How many millennia would it take then to build the 3.5 million homes we need for Canadians?
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Mr. Speaker, while the Leader of the Opposition continues to play rhetorical games, we're focused on building the range of solutions that we're going to need to actually solve for this housing crisis, which involves things like removing GST from purpose-built rental construction, moving forward with the rental construction financing initiative that we've been working on for a number of years now and delivering, moving forward the Housing Accelerator Fund, $4 billion for municipalities like Vaughan, like London, like the Lower Mainland to build new homes, and continuing to work on making the rental market safer for all Canadians. These are things we will continue to do because Canadians are counting on all of us.